Hi guys, welcome back to the Home and Homestead. If you're new to the channel, I'm Rebecca. Today we're going to head outside and do some gardening. I'll be planting my 5-tier vertical planters with various types of flowers. We'll be doing some edible flowers, some flowers from seed, as well as some flowers from starter plants. So let's head outside so we can get our 5-tier vertical planters all planted for the season. So here I have my setup. I have my 5-tier vertical planter off to the right that I've been using for 3 years now. And last year I purchased another 2-pack from a different brand because the original Amazing Creation brand that I purchased is in and out of stock. So I have purchased from Sun in the past. You can see and check out my seed starting supply video and helpers for when you want to start seeds, and I use the Sun heat mat. So I figured I'd try their version of the 5-tier vertical planter, and it looks nearly exactly the same as the other one that I had. So I'm looking forward to planting these this year and hopefully have some continued good luck with how the plants grow and how everything looks. And behind here I have my miniature greenhouse, which I like to put my seed started plants or plants that I purchased from a greenhouse, and I keep them in there. It maintains a nice moist environment, and I also can harden my plants outside inside of this little structure. Now for the 5-tier vertical planter that I've had for many years, each fall once I have finished the growth season, I clean it with some Dawn Power Wash spray and hose it down real nice. Then they're able to stack together and store nicely over the winter season. If you want to check out my video on how I create a refill for Dawn Power Wash spray, it's a really quick and easy recipe, and it's a great money saving tip as you can use Dawn Power Wash spray both inside and outside. So let me unpack the Sun 5-tier planters. And I went with ivory or stone color again. I believe this is considered stone, and then Sun considers this ivory. And I did a bundle package. Now the Sun comes with a chain with a hook, and you have this on the bottom and run the chain all the way through. So that's just another level of protection to help keep your 5-tier planters together. So I'm going to set this one off to the side for now. And I'm going to plant out my original 5-tier planter. I have a begonia here that I had in this layer last year, and I brought it in during the winter and took it out this spring, and it has come back. So what I'm going to do is fill all these layers with soil, and I think I'm going to plant all of this with some greenery and various begonias. Alright, so here I have all my different varieties of begonias. So I have the one from last year like I spoke about. I believe this is a nice peach colored begonia. Then I have 2 of these non-stop sunset. They're really nice orange with yellow in the middle begonias, and I have 2 of those. And I have this really cool dragon wing pink begonia, and the leaves are very different. They have a different shape to them, which gives it that dragon wing name. This one gets nice and tall, so I want to put that on a lower tier, and then I can build up the rest of the way. Then I also have a Calibrachoa. I've used this in the past, and it fills out the entire top tier of a vertical planter, and then it also starts to drape down off to the side as it continues to grow. This one is a chameleon blueberry scone variety, so it has really pretty purple and magenta and yellow colored petals. Then I also have some greenery. I have some miniature licorice, which is a nice draping greenery plant, and some dusty millers. These have that nice soft texture to them. It's kind of a fuzzy type of feel to the leaves of the dusty miller, which is also called silver dust. So I filled up the different layers with some soil, and I only filled them about halfway because I have starter plants for this particular vertical planter. So on each of the different layers I'm going to put one of the flowering plants, and then I'll fill in with these greenery plants as well. So let's get planting. If your pot is starting to be root bound, just make sure you loosen up the root structure and then backfill with your soil. When I plant in a vertical planter, I like to make sure I plant on the outer edge of whatever out pocket of that different layer is. All right, let me assemble the 5-tier planter and I can show you our first completed vertical garden, which has pretty much the begonias and some greenery with the calibrachoa on the top. All right, here we have the first 5-tier vertical planter all planted out. We have different varieties of begonias interspersed with some different greenery with our Dusty Miller. These kind of silvery looking greenery, as well as the miniature licorice, which you see, and that'll continue to kind of droop down, as well as the calibrachoa on the top layer, and that'll just drape down the side of the vertical planter. It'll be a really striking look once it starts to become more established, and I'm looking forward to seeing these nice bright colorful flowers as well. So I'm going to give this a good watering, and then we can move on to the next 5-tier vertical planter where I'll do some more flowers with greenery, and that'll be mainly geraniums. Now on to our next planter. So I have some geraniums. This is an Americana salmon. So this will be a nice peachy pink color. And a Pinto Premium orange bicolor. So this has kind of a peachy orange on the outside with some light peach on the inside. This is another Americana salmon, so you can see the coloring of the petals. This is a Limona, so it has a light pinkish purple with a darker purple in the middle. I believe I have a few of those. Yep, I have 3 of those. And then again, mini licorice and Dusty Miller for some greenery interspersed. So let's get these into the planter. All right, so here is our 5-tier planter, all planted out with geraniums and our greenery with the mini licorice and Dusty Miller. A little rain cloud came over and watered everything real nicely. So now I can put this where I want it to go, and we can move on to the third and final 5-tier vertical planter I'll be planting this year. And that I'm going to be planting from seed. I'm going to do some edible flowers. So I have picked out 5 edible flowers, and what I'm going to do is put an edible flower on each level and keep them separated. So I'm going to be doing violas and pansies, calendula, borage, and nasturtium. And all of these have varying heights. So I like to put the tallest ones towards the bottom so that as they grow, they will have a nice support behind them. Some of the taller ones, borage will grow to about 18 inches, so I'll put that maybe the second from the bottom. Calendula, that can grow about 2 feet tall, and the rest are about 6 inches. So let me get all of these layers filled with soil, and I'll fill them nice and full because we're just going to be planting seeds. And these will be planted between a 1/16 inch to a 1/2 inch, depending on the variety. Just be sure if you're planting seed, just follow the instructions that are on the back of the packaging. So let's get these different layers of our planter all filled with our soil. All right, so for the first layer, I'm going to put my calendula. This needs to be planted about a 1/16 inch, so it's a nice superficial planting, and it'll grow to be about 12 to 24 inches. So this will definitely be on the bottom tier for me for my 5-tier vertical planter. They're really interesting shaped seed. They're kind of curly, but it also makes them easy to see on the surface of your topsoil. So let me place these in. Again, since this is a vertical planter, I'm going to try to plant on the outer half of this area. Once I have my edible flowers all planted, I'm going to put this 5-tier vertical planter by our grill and our outdoor kitchen area. That way I'll know that these are edible. Next I'll do some borage. That one will grow to about an 18-inch height. So I'll put that one on the second from the bottom. This one will plant about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. Here's what these seeds look like. Another round of rain is coming, so I'm just going to continue to plant. I'm on a little bit of an overhang. I'm just going to use this whole packet. Next, I'll do some violas or Johnny Jet Bumps. These are really bright and fun flower to plant, and they grow at about 6 to 12 inches. You want to plant them superficially as well, so about a 1/16 inch, just kind of on the surface. So I'll just sprinkle it, cover with the soil. So I'll just sprinkle on the outside of each of these layers. They're really tiny seeds, so I didn't want to risk them blowing away. I'll do some pansies. This is the Swiss Giants blend, so these should be nice big blossoms and nice and colorful as well. These will be about 6 inches tall. You want to plant them superficially, again about a 1/16 of an inch down. These are a nice small seed, so I'm just going to do a little sprinkling on the outer edge here, and then just cover it with the soil. And for the final layer, these grow about 6 to 12 inches. You want to plant them about a 1/2 inch deep. They're a much bigger seed. So I'm just going to plant 1 or 2 seeds in each of the 3 planting areas. There we go. So I'm just going to assemble this 5-tier planter and stick it out in the rain so that the nice light rain we're getting right now will water all the layers for me. And I'll get some labels so I know what each of the different layers contains. And this entire 5-tier planter consists of edible flowers. All right, here you have it. Here we have our 5-tier planter all planted out with our edible flowers from seed. I have 1 variety per layer, and I have them labeled as well. And what I like about this style of a vertical planter is you're able to remove a certain layer if you need to bring it into the house and clean up that layer, or maybe if you're doing some cooking and you want to use a couple of different varieties of edible flowers, you can certainly harvest from the planter, but I also like to just bring that layer in and use as much as I need and then bring it back outside. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today while we did some gardening and we planted my 5-tier vertical planters. This year I did 3 vertical planters. I did 1 with different varieties of begonias and some greenery, as well as the calibrachoa on top, which will fill in and spread out over the whole top layer of that particular planter. I also did a planter that was all different types of geraniums with some greenery as well, and that will bring nice pops of color and a welcoming look to a outer entryway for our home. And then we also have our edible flower garden. So I have 5 different varieties of edible flowers. They'll both be beautiful to look at as well as tasty to eat and add to recipes or use as garnishes. So I can't wait to have some edible flowers to use later this year. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope this has inspired you to get outside and do some planting. These vertical planters are nice and compact in size, and once you're finished for the year, you can dump out the soil, wash them up real nice, and they stack up to a nice small size for easy storage during the winter. I'll try to include in the description box some vertical planters such as I have used today, as well as some other items I have found helpful for gardening or planting in containers. Well, if you're new to the channel or haven't done so yet, I would really appreciate you subscribing. If you enjoy this or any other video that you watch, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Well, I hope you continue watching my channel, The Home and Homestead, for more homemade, homegrown, and home style inspiration. Well, I hope you're having a fantastic day. See you next time. Take care.